Hello, people of YouTube. This is Adrienne from Studio Artista Nuwa. Today I'd like to talk to you about a subject that's near and dear to my heart, which is growing one's food. And today's day and age, I can't think of anything that is more important than taking control of your immediate situation and being able to supply your family with a never-ending supply of healthy fruit and vegetables. The commodity prices are skyrocketing, wages are stagnating, and unemployment continues to be on the rise. And this is one way that you can really participate in the family health, economically, physically, spiritually, getting back in touch with Mother Nature, getting back in touch with the foundations of society, the food production, and has always brought people together. And seeds are precious gifts. They are sacred, and they must be guarded, especially right now with what's happening with our food production. I think it's said in the great documentary Food Incorporated, I believe it's 4 or 5 multinationals control 80% of the food. And that leaves us in a very dangerous, precarious situation, especially in an emergency event. The shelves are empty 2 to 3 days, and I had lived all over the United States, California, Texas, Mississippi, here, there, everywhere, and each place along the way had taught me a little bit about emergency preparation. So, and growing seasons. Right now I'm located in South Carolina, and I've been here for a couple of years, and I'm still on a learning curve. When I grew up in the Northeast, we had one planting season and everything was relatively straightforward, and we had really great soil. And so different regions of the country, and even within a few miles, you could have a great diversity of soil conditions. Seeds, soil, sun, clean water, there are your fundamentals. So we'll start out with seeds. There are some great companies out there that are committed to staying in business, fighting the mega multinationals and their frankenfood, the GMO modifications. There's horrific implications with the studies of what it's doing to the test subjects, and it's inundated our food supply through the corn and soy, and they're working on many others. So I pray that each of you heed this warning, take it seriously, have an insurance policy. Yeah, it's great to have those long-term storage foods. They're only going to last so long, and people, especially elderly and the young, fatigue of having a repetitious diet. And then not to mention that no matter how good that long-term food storage is, it will never be as good as a homegrown fruit and vegetable. So I have acquired a great number of seeds from Baker Seed Company, Victory Seed, and Seed of Change. Now, all of these seed companies have a good variety. I believe Baker's the best, and they deliver promptly. And I'm going to just tell you what I did as the prerequisite going into picking the fruits and vegetables is I don't mess around with anything that comes from an agricultural school and is produced in the early 1900s to present day. I chose the oldest open pollinated varieties. Some are very rare in the United States. And The criteria had been the oldest, the quickest to germinate, the quickest to maturity, and of course disease resistant and suited for the environment that I'm in. But I also chose other varieties to grow in other conditions because right now we don't even know, with the weather patterns and everything else, if where we're located is going to be a stable environment. So also the other thing that I looked at had been the easiest to store and the most versatility of storage, especially when it came to things like peppers and winter squash and some of the other things that you would can. And so I wanted to be able to use them in a variety of ways. Some things freeze better than others, some things can better than others, so you might want to take a look at that. It's very important that you understand the microbiology of soil and the life forms, these microscopic life forms that are in the soil, break down the organic material to small enough particles where the root can uptake them and the plant could be healthy and thrive. And you could dump a ton of fertilizers, organic mind you, and if the microbiology isn't there, if the worms are not there, then there's very little chance that the plants are really going to derive any benefit from it. So compost tea is one of the ways that you establish the microbiology. Also the castings of the red wiggler fishing worm, they're very easy to have a bin of, and you put in some grass clippings and newspaper and leaves, and all of your vegetable and fruit material that's waste from the house goes into the bin, and the worms consume it and make a very potent fertilizer that is loaded with the microbes that you need. And my top picks for basic fertilizers, to adjust the pH: lime, gypsum. Most soils these days are very calcium deficient, so save all your eggshells. You have to crush them up really small, and the worms will take care of the rest. And I use a combination of blood meal, bone meal, feather meal, kelp, alfalfa, and they're sold in separate bags at the consumer feed, seed stores, livestock stores, in bulk, so you're getting a better deal. And I also use unsulfured blackstrap molasses, and you could get this in a powdered form, or it's pretty expensive in a bottle at the health food store. And this is used for iron supplementation, also to feed your microbes as you're making a compost tea. And compost tea is quite easy. Coffee grounds, anything that is organic and broken down, rainwater, add some of the backstrap molasses to it, mushroom compost, old manure, chicken manure is really good, and you have a bin outside and you let it ferment, we'll use that word, we'll just let it steep, and that's really great. I use that to water the plants right after they're transplanted, and also when it's pushing its fruit, and then again when my plants are going to push seed for me. And to give you a really quick insight into what seeds can do, you can have a small collection of seed, and in one growing season, these tiny little packages that you pay just a couple dollars for produce food for the family. And a great deal of the plants out there, you can consume the vegetables and save the seed. So each growing season, your food supply just expands exponentially. I have literally created millions of seeds in 2 growing seasons, and an $800 initial investment into the seed stock has now supplied many families with free seed stock, an endless supply, so many I can't even use them. And seeds have a really good shelf life, especially if they're stored at the right temperature and humidity conditions. That's something you'll have to learn about if you get into this. And the book that, even as a seasoned gardener, I still consult on a regular basis is Seed to Seed. And it'll tell you, you know, all kind of useful information on what varieties cross with one another. It's very important to keep a pure seed stock, and what time of year you have to start your plants, transplant outdoors, how to harden them off, what soil conditions they need, how much water, light, how to collect the seed. And you need a variety of simple kitchen tools to collect most seeds. And some are straightforward, like beans and corn. You know, you just let them dry on the cob, on the plant, and peas the same way, and then you just pop them out. And then others are not. They take a little bit more, they're a little bit more labor intensive. But it is a job that I thoroughly enjoy. Not everybody's cut out for it. Of course, some people are afraid of bugs and they don't like to be dirty, and they have problems working in the heat and allergies. You know, you've got all this plant material floating around. But there are some of us that are suited and built for it, and actually really love the work, love the physicality of it, and just being in nature. So hand tools, while we're still up and running, and I hope it stays that way, that, you know, that we could go to the gas station and the grocery store and supplement what we're growing in the garden. While everything's up and running, yeah, great, get the soil prepared. If you have a tiller, tractor, wonderful. It's hard work, but it makes the job a lot easier. But make sure you have some good sturdy hand tools. Recommendation is, I've learned the hard way of going to the box stores and buying the hand tools. The shovel, the hoe, rake, little spades and claw hand tools, is that they don't last very long. So if you can, get out there, shop at some flea markets and yard sales, that type of thing, and look for the older ones that are built to last. Unfortunately, you know, things have gone awry, and now everything breaks within a year. So there's my recommendations. Get healthy, get growing, and make sure you and your family have a never-ending food supply during these incredibly challenging times. Good luck to y'all. God bless. Thank you.